We don't just work for patients, we want to work with them. Patients speak, we listen, and we act together. I'm profoundly patient and people-oriented. I like to give my best in everything that I am doing.
Hello everyone, welcome back to OncoDaily. Today it's a great honor and pleasure for me to welcome Dr. Arnaud Lallouette, the Executive Vice President for the Global Medical and Patient Affairs at Servier. Welcome, Arnaud.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the invitation, and I'm absolutely delighted to interact with you on the coming minutes.
I'll start from the beginning. Why did you decide to pursue a career in medicine?
I think I felt into it when I was a child. In fact, my father was head of a psychiatric department, and he was involved in the treatment of both children and adults. I always found that he was working hard, but at the same time, he was really passionate about the impact he could have on patients and also on their families. And I think this is what inspired me to follow his example and also to be part of this change.
And what were your early days like in the medical school, and how did your career evolve later on?
I think I have always been passionate about science, about therapeutic progress. So I really enjoyed the first year in the medical school. And very early on, I had also the chance to work and to learn how to treat adults, but also children in different specialty. First, children in pediatric oncology, and later on, children with pediatric or in pediatric cardiology. And very rapidly, I wanted to choose a specialty where the impact on patients, whether they were children or adults, could be very tangible. That was my early period in the medical school.
And then you went to cardiology, right?
Yes, and then I chose cardiology for many reasons. First of all, I always felt that the heart was a fascinating organ, the brain as well, but the heart in particular. And it was in the 90s, and I think at that time, and thanks to important scientific, technical progress, many cardiovascular innovations became available with new class of drugs such as ACE inhibitors, such as beta blockers, treatment to treat thrombosis, and also new device. And all these innovations were changing the way we could treat patients. And therefore, I think taking that into account, choosing cardiology became for me a very natural choice.
And then, but afterwards, you decided to go into the industry. What was exciting about it, or the challenging part of it?
What inspired me and what I found very exciting was to change scale. Because by joining the industry, for me, it was a real shift in moving from making an impact on an individual patients and sometimes on their families all around when you are a medical doctor, to when you move to the industry, having an impact on global health. And that was really exciting. And it was also an opportunity for me to discover a métier and multiple and fascinating expertise such as research, development, regulatory affairs, medical, patient affairs, and some fields that I was knowing less, such as production, supply chain. But at the end, whether you are a doctor treating individual patients or whether you are in the industry trying to improve global health, it is with the same ambition, which is to improve patient care.
So currently you are the Executive Vice President for the Global Medical and Patient Affairs for one of the leading pharma companies, and if I'm not mistaken, one of the large non-profits in the world. But I want to ask, what's key to your success, like from your early days in the medical school coming to this position?
So, first of all, I would like to comment a little first on this organization, on Servier, because it had an impact on I believe, success is a big word, but I would say the development of my career and my motivation. And first, I would like to highlight that Servier is an international, it's a pharmaceutical group which is governed by a non-profit foundation. And this is a very interesting governance because it enables everyone in Servier to have a long-term vision that is very focused on trying to develop transformative medicine for patients. And this is really why I wanted to join specifically this company. And to be a little more precise, it's because being governed by a non-profit foundation, we don't have shareholders. And all the profit are therefore reinvested in the development of the group. They are reinvested mainly in research and development. And it is a group which is, being a foundation, which is very scientifically and medically driven, with a very strong focus more and more on precision medicine in order to develop impactful treatment with more and more targeted therapies in oncology and in neurology. And also to come back further to your question, part of, I think, my development inside Servier was linked to the fact that Servier was and is even more today a leader in cardiology. So it was the perfect match. And especially in the field of hypertension, where Servier is number one worldwide. But over the time, I had the opportunity to move across different therapeutic areas, first starting with oncology, but then to discover other therapeutic area, and more recently oncology. And Servier is today an emerging leader in oncology. Also, parts of Servier's success and I would say my development, I want to highlight that we have really a strong focus and desire to work with patients. So for me, it was very, I would say, natural and very motivating, because we don't just work for patients, we want to work with them. We want to involve them all along the different stage of the medicine life cycle in order to, thanks to their input, to find and to develop better care and better solutions for them through their journey. So that was, I would say, key to my success inside the Servier group, and I had a lot of opportunities to be developed, as I mentioned before, moving from cardiology to diabetology to venous disease to oncology to neurology. So to be developed and to discover further within the pharmaceutical world different therapeutic areas, but also to discover this different function, medical affairs, but also more commercial function. And I think a very important part of my development was this opportunity to discover different cultures all around the world, because Servier, being an international pharmaceutical group present in many countries, I had this chance to discover this culture, and particularly in different countries where I lived.
Coming to the countries you lived, I mean, you have lived in 7 countries, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes. True.
And how have all these different cultures shaped your future choices and career?
I think it is always difficult to say precisely, but first of all, in terms of countries, I think it's important to mention them. I lived and I've been responsible from the Nordic countries. So I was living in Denmark, but I had also the opportunity to travel and to work and to live in Sweden, in Finland, and we had some activities in Norway. So I discovered that the culture between the Nordic countries was not homogeneous, and I really enjoyed to discover that. It has some impact on the way I behave and I want to interact with people, whether they are physicians or whether they are patients or whether they are my colleagues. And also working with this. No, so I want to highlight other countries. I worked then in the UK. I worked in Australia. I worked in Canada, and obviously in France. And I think having in mind this culture made me, I would say, reinforce my desire to make an impact on all patients, whatever their country of origin, whatever their socioeconomic status, whatever I would say their communities. And we know that there are across the world very importantly underserved communities. And I think I make the parallel between working and understanding the different cultures and the different population with my desire to improve the care of patients wherever they are. And I think today, in my interaction with people and with my interaction with culture, I take that into account.
Who were your mentors, Arnaud?
So I think I've been fortunate to have different type of mentors. They were different and they developed me in different ways. Some of my mentors were obviously my professor in cardiology. And why I mention them, I prefer not to give specific names because it's always a little, I don't want to make differences, but my true mentors in cardiology were those who had really a very strong influence as scientists and an influence internationally and nationally. They were excellent medical doctors. And when I say excellent medical doctors, they were really able to have excellent diagnoses and an extremely good way to treat patients. But they were my mentor because they were the best in terms of humanity, in terms of interacting with patients, trying to understand their needs, trying to communicate well with them in order to make them understand their disease and understand the way they should be treated for a better care. So I have been really impressed by them. And I will say in the industry and at Servier, because Servier has been my only, I will say, company within the pharmaceutical industry, I have been marked by those who made me understand and developed myself to understand even further that my strongest assets were my teams and my colleagues, in fact. And this is what I keep in mind from them. People.
What advice do you have for a younger generation who would like to become leaders in the pharma industry like you did?
It's a good question because I love to interact with the younger generation, and we have more and more stagiaires and people who are in the course of their university coming to us to Servier. So what the advice that I try to provide them could be split in different types, in different categories. The first one is about patients. I really will recommend them to always listen carefully to patients and to work with them, because patients are the real experts of their disease, because they know what they want, they know their needs. And in fact, we are here to serve patients. So that's the first advice that I will recommend. It's potentially easier at the beginning and with the risk to lose it over the time. So my main advice will be keep focus and keep this mindset to work not just for patients, but to involve them, whatever the stage of their disease. Secondly, I think it is very important in the world today and in our pharmaceutical world to remain curious, because we are in a fast-moving environment. Innovations are coming at a very high speed. So they need and we need to remain aware and to keep an eye on what is happening in other fields in terms of trends, in terms of innovation, and not just in the pharmaceutical world, but I would say it can include, the car industry, it can be the food industry, because sometimes this, I would say, world are more advanced than us, and they are catching innovation sometimes, and unfortunately, quicker than us, and we have a lot to learn from them. So that's what I will recommend to the younger generation as a second, I would say, pillar. No, and I had maybe a third pillar to highlight. It is more from a personal point of view. Certainly, I would recommend them to keep a strong enthusiasm all along their career. Yeah. Maybe to keep the enthusiasm that they had when they are a child. All children are always, they are the first to jump on something new and are always very enthusiastic. I think it is very important to keep that in our work, to keep the passion, to enjoy the work every morning. And in this category of people, also to continue to work for a cause which could be bigger than themselves, obviously patients, but also the community they live, and also to remain humble in all situations, even if they progress in their career, because it's a risk to lose this humility. And it is important to keep that from the beginning to the end of the career. And probably a final pillar, it's also to take risk in their career, because it is important sometimes to change function, to start from scratch, and to discover another world. It's a little risky, but at the end, it is very positive in order to understand the big picture. And to have and to create a stronger impact. So take risk, change function. It can be also change country, because you will learn and you will grow with that. It's a lot of recommendation, but I hope
that's great.
It's useful.
Like a blueprint. Yeah, for sure. Coming back to Servier, what are the things which are differentiating Servier from the other companies?
First, as I mentioned before, being a foundation is not a structure or a governance which is so frequent. So I think it is a differentiating factor for several reasons. The first one is that it allows to have a long-term vision and to be even more motivated by patient care and by the sustainability of the group. And why? Because being a foundation, you don't have shareholders, and therefore you don't have to demonstrate really results and to work for shareholders on a very short-term point of view. So I think it is a differentiating factor, and it is very important in order to improve patient care and to develop innovations. Second, I would say differentiating factor is probably the way Servier wish. It's not unique, but I believe it is different, to work even closer to patients. Our chief patient officer at the group always say, patients speak, we listen, and we act together. So involving them in the work is extremely important. Right from the moment we develop a new molecule, and this all along the development stage of the medicine life cycle. And I want to highlight that Servier has been recognized by a company which is assessing the reputation of the pharmaceutical company in the world. Servier has been ranked number 9 of the most favorite pharmaceutical company across all therapeutic areas out of 46, I believe, and number 1 specifically in oncology with patient organizations which are working with us. So I think it is another differentiating factor. So I think between patients and the foundation, it is what may differentiate us from other company.
Wonderful. Arnaud, what are you doing currently in oncology, and what are the plans, the future plans?
So in oncology today, our plan is really to be selective in where we want to go in order to deliver innovation and to bring them at the level of patients. So the plan is really to invest in what we call rare and hard to treat disease in oncology, where the medical needs are huge and also where our group as a foundation can make a difference. So more concretely, we are focusing on 3 main areas. We are not going everywhere. We are focusing first on gastrointestinal cancers, and in particular gastric cancer, colorectal cancer, in pancreatic cancer, where the medical needs are huge and the mortality rate are extremely important, and also in cholangiocarcinoma. That's the first pillar. And it's where we are today, and it's where we want to be tomorrow. Second pillar in oncology, we are today involved more and more in brain cancers, and especially in glioma at a different level of the stage, from glioma grade 2 to glioma grade 4. And the third pillar in oncology will be hemato-oncology, particularly in leukemia, for both children and adults, in AML, acute myeloid leukemia, and acute lymphoblastic leukemia. So this is the plan for us. And in order to succeed as well, of course, we have the success and what we do in research and development, and we want to be highly performing at that level. But maybe a point on where we want to be good today and where we want to be better tomorrow will be around data, digitalization, and artificial intelligence, because I think it's new factors who can help to accelerate the development of innovations and to make them available for patients and for healthcare professionals as soon as possible. Because data and artificial intelligence will help, as an example, to better identify the patient population, which will respond better to the innovation. It will help to understand better and quicker the patient pathway. It will help to, create and reinforce the value of this innovation to healthcare bodies. So I think it is an important area of development and a big priority for Servier as a group.
I'd like to take also your message on the Act for Children. You already did a cover letter for the Cancer World back in April, I guess, or in May, which was very beautiful. But I'd like, to get back to the Act for Children and to explore what it is doing. Please, I think it would be important for our audience to hear it firsthand.
Yes, thank you for highlighting Act for Children, because I'm absolutely convinced and highly motivating to be part of this adventure. It is a first initiative which celebrated its first anniversary in September, and Servier is acting with several partners. We have a coalition of potentially 8 or 9 partners in the world, with the main objective, which is to address the stark disparity in childhood cancer outcome between high-income countries and low or middle-income countries, and the difference in survival is really huge. So we want to address this inequity in childhood cancer outcome. However, to be effective, such initiative needs to have an holistic approach, because it's not just about giving and providing treatment. It's about ensuring access to education. It's ensuring a good diagnosis. It's ensuring proper nutrition. And it is also providing quality medicine to the different centers with supportive care and obviously also patient support. So each of these elements of the care, of the optimal care today, will play a very critical role in improving the outcome of children. And this is why, in fact, to succeed, we need to work with many partners. Servier will not have had the capability to achieve this alone. And we are very fortunate to have 8 or 9 extremely motivated and competent partners. So what did we do concretely in a year? We opened 5 centers in middle and
middle income countries.
Yes, exactly. I can quote them in El Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala, Armenia, and Indonesia. So these centers are up and running. We have, with our partners, tried to develop and to develop even further healthcare professionals regarding the optimal management of these children with cancer, and particularly children with leukemia. And to give you a number, I think we are close to 800 doctors which have been trained in these 5 centers. And also, we provided enough quality medicine to be supplied there in order to treat up to 2,000 children. So overall, a fantastic initiative, I would say, built with an holistic approach of care and with a coalition.
I want to thank you, first of all, and congratulate with the great work you are doing on that regard. As an Armenian, I can surely say, I mean, it's a huge work. And like, I think last year, if I'm not mistaken, Armenian kids received a pegasparginase for more than $1.5 million or so, something like this, close to that, a high quality medication. And your team is amazing, for sure. I mean, they are always there. Especially like the team led by Manette, they are doing amazing work. So thank you very much for
and maybe a point
being out there
that,
for the kids and the team.
Thank you so much for highlighting, I would say, people and the team on site, which are doing an amazing work together with the partner. What we will see later on, we don't have the data yet, but that we should have also results on the improvement of the survival rate of these children. It's a little too early, but I'm sure that data will come and they will be also available to the scientific and the medical community. So it's another motivation to come.
Wonderful. How to make cancer care more equitable globally? What would be your recommendation?
I think it's a very important topic. I think Servier as a foundation has a role to play to achieve this ambition. Maybe what we need to do at Servier level, being a pharmaceutical company, is to put in place, and it's what we are trying to do, to develop this global, I will say, health equity strategy in order to improve global health at our level in all functions. And this is what we try to do, to have a clear strategy in research and development at the industrial level, at the level of commercial operation, throughout medical and patient affairs. So in other words, for each of the function to have their own, I would say, strategy to improve global health. And for example, to give an example, it will be to ensure that in our clinical trial, variety of patients are included, and that it includes as well patients who are coming from underserved populations. That will be a very important strategy, which needs to be very structured. The second point, in order to tackle this issue, will be to work not in isolation. So therefore, to work even more in a coalition or alliance of actors who will have different skills, different expertise, and to achieve a better health equity in the world, and to make a stronger impact. And I believe that Act for Children that we just mentioned is the perfect example of the path or the vision and the execution of the vision that we need to follow in this field.
Which books you recommend that everyone reads?
So maybe I will recommend two types of books, maybe one from a maybe personal point of view and one from a more professional point of view. And you will understand why, as we talked before, to the younger generation. So the first one will be, I'm not sure in English, but it's probably the Royal Game from Stephen Zweig, because I think it's an interesting book to expose and to discover different characters who are playing chess, and to see how and to see the contrast between these two people. I think it is absolutely amazing, and how it has an impact on the different personalities. And it's also a book which discusses, I would say, control, survival. So very interesting one that I would recommend to read. And maybe the second one, maybe more, that I like from both a personal and I would say a professional point of view. It is a book from Jean-François Ménard, who is a coach from the Canadian Olympic teams, both for winter and summer. And his book title is Train Your Brain Like an Olympian. So he provides a lot of recipe to, it can be for the younger generation, but across the age, how to behave in a structural way in your place of work in order to perform. And like an athlete going to the Olympics. So I like it, and I will recommend to the younger generation of people who are interested to develop themselves in the pharmaceutical industry.
In one sentence, who is Arnaud Lallouette?
It's difficult in one sentence, even in one word, I don't know. Maybe I would say that I am profoundly, I hope that it is perceived, I'm profoundly patient and people-oriented. I like to give my best in everything that I am doing, either at work or when I am partnering with stakeholder externally. And it can be also when I am doing sport, because I love sport, collective and individual sport. I don't like to work in isolation. So even when I am doing, I will say, individual sports, such as a triathlon, I like to do it with my son, Louis, and to discover the world together and to discover, at this occasion, culture together. So I've done a triathlon in Australia, in Canada. This year I was in the south of France with my son in Aix-en-Provence, and we are planning to do one in Palma de Mallorca next year. So it's maybe a long sentence, but maybe I will summarize again with patient and people-oriented and trying to give its best.
Wonderful. And my final question, who should I interview next?
Maybe I don't have a specific name in mind to recommend yourself. And I don't know if on OncoDaily, if you did it already. But based on our discussion and the importance of patient and patient organization, probably I will recommend to interview a patient. It can be with different type of disease, different type of
We
cancer.
do.
And because they are experts, again, of their disease, they can express their needs, and to understand that, it's a beautiful and a very important way to guide your potentially your readers, so that they take this lesson, these directions, to perform and to deliver the best in what they are doing. Whether your reader will be healthcare professional, medical doctors, nurses, or the pharma industry, I'm sure we will learn a lot from patients or from patient organization. I don't know if you did it already in the past or not.
We do a lot of interviews with patients, of course, for sure. Thank you so much, Arnaud. It was a great pleasure.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to OncoDaily on YouTube. Hit the bell icon to stay updated.